No, I don't see it on stream. Still waiting. Still waiting for KandM Entertainment. Do we need to refresh? Guys, are we here? What's happening? Wait, I hear myself bouncing back. Oh, look, there we are. We did it. Perfectly appropriate to us. Oh, that is the best way. And like we're a little bit delayed, and I'm watching us be confused staring at the screen. It's it's perfect. What's up, everybody? Hey, patrons. Take it away, Mike. Oh, we can't hear Mike. Oh, Mike. Oh, it's just me. I feel like this is the best version of the show. It's just me. How's it going, everybody? Oh, well, Mike figures that out. Welcome to the 2024 KandM holiday party, sort of.
For the magic, now you should probably hear all of us.
Wow.
Can we get confirmation that we are both here now?
Can we confirm? Can we confirm?
Wait, but we have the delay to deal with, Keith. Yes,
we're here. We did it.
All right.
Fantastic. Yeah. How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. So welcome to. Let me turn off this music so we don't get dinged.
Don't ding us.
So Keith and I are in an let's start here. Keith and I are in an never-ending battle to figure out the best way to keep the stream setup we have free. And we're dealing with the free program we use to actually broadcast is getting popular. So there's a lot of latency and choppiness and all kinds of stuff. So we're still fighting to not pay for it. but we might. But YouTube Live, for a situation where we don't have to show television show or whatnot, we can do this. So anyway, well, here we are. It's open to the masses. We're on YouTube. We're on the Patreon page. Thank you, guys. We owe you so much stuff we've promised, but instead we thought we'd start by just doing the easiest thing possible, which is talk.
Just talk randomly. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. You can keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, I'm good, Keith. How are you doing? It's holiday time. Maybe we should start with what our plans are. I know we've talked about it on the last video, but what do you do for the holidays? Are you a celebrating kind of guy, or not everybody does?
No, for sure. I think I am planning to go up to Vermont to see my folks for the holiday. We don't necessarily celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday. We're not religious. We sort of celebrate cultural Christmas just a hair. So we have a tree and we decorate in candy canes and stuff like that. Jamie, what's up? So happy to see more people here. So that's be driving up to Vermont, which will be fun. Get some snow, although we have snow here in New Jersey this morning. Very exciting. Mr. Miles, what's up, Kevin?
We got an inch last night and it was beautiful. It's the first time. So if I may, it was the first time my dog has seen snow, and I thought I was prepared for how cute that would be, but I don't think that I was that prepared because she was obsessed and she was trying to eat it, and then it was sticking to the ground, and she was doing this lawnmower thing, like she was just opening her mouth and then running along the ground to just scoop it in there, and then it got stuck in her nose and she couldn't get it off. Oh my God, so much cute stuff. So that has been awesome. And then I realized Jen, my wife, is going out of town for a few months. And I was thinking that, oh my God, I'm going to have to walk the dog every time in the cold. Yeah. Now we can't share that, which kind of sucks. But we've established thank God, the past couple of years, we've really made a point to exit for Christmas. We went on a cruise last year. I was working. And then a few years ago, we went to Harry Potter World on Christmas Eve and Christmas in Universal Studios. And I think that's kind of broke the chain of our families demanding our presence.
Right, sure.
But this year, Jen, it was funny because we are not particularly religious folks, Jen and I. At least we don't practice in any sort of way. But she has kind of been missing the Christmas Eve church vibe. Not so much from a religious standpoint, but just sort of seriously vibes, So we looked at a couple of little churches that are having services around us, and then I said, listen, This is such a Mike thing. You're going to appreciate this. You know, I love newest, latest, best. Buy a new speaker, new TV, whatever it is.
Oh my God.
So I was like, well, if we're going to do a Christmas Eve thing, right, then why don't we find the closest mega church? Because, no, let me talk through this.
Okay, I'm so curious to see where this is all going.
The mega churches, through machinations, generally have the highest budgets, right? So they have, you know, they're going to have the best they're going to have the best AV, they're going to have the best kind of just excess. So are you looking for like cute little candle lit thing, or are you looking for bombast?
You want Christmas spectacular.
So there is
lasers. You want lasers.
Yeah, there is a mega church about a mile away. I will not name it, but they are doing so I looked it up. They are doing live animals, full choir, full orchestra, all this stuff. So I was like, Jen, this is it. She's like, yeah, but are they going to try to like, do we have to be members? I said, no, Christmas is open to everybody. So anyway, we're doing that Christmas Eve. Then we're going to my sister's, and then we're going to have a quiet Christmas by ourselves here on Christmas Day.
Wow, that is, you know, it's interesting because I'm both surprised, shocked, and appalled, but also it a little bit makes sense.
Yeah,
based on the mic. It's like, oh, do they have holograms? Is there like a hologram baby Jesus? Because then Mike will show up immediately.
I totally get it, and I'm with you. I do like the candlelit vibe, but I feel I can accomplish that here because the other thing we do, we're big on old vinyl records. And to go serious for a second, I went to a funeral yesterday morning. And one of the things the priest, it was a Catholic funeral and they did the full Catholic mass, which I have to say, even as an adult, even in the most serious of circumstances, and of course my heart goes out to my friend who lost his dad. I'm still bored to tears. I just can't, a 1 hour mass, it just makes me want to scream.
Do they do it in English or Latin?
It was in English, thank goodness. And it was interesting. Weirdly, they grew up around so it was the church I went to Sunday school at, and I haven't been back since I was like 12, so it was weird to be there. Anyway, not the point. Point being, one thing they said during the homily was, during this Christmas, you know, whether you're a religious person or not, make sure to leave a space for the people you've lost. And Jen and I are very good about that. So we have Jen's dad, his old vinyl collection. And we pulled out all of the Christmas vinyl from way back, like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And we've just been every day just listening to Christmas vinyl and leaving that space. And it's been pretty awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I feel like we do that candlelit vibe, cute thing here. So if we're going to go for it, let's just go see the camels pooping on stage.
Well, there it is. We got a lot of people were excited about the animals. Are the live animals a petting zoo kind of situation? Are you going to pet the animals?
I don't have any specifics, but I promise to report back.
But I do. Speaking of live animals, we have a guest today. Come here, Fleur. Oh
boy. Oh my god.
Here she is.
Pretzel!
Here is Pretzel, my ex-wife's blind ancient chihuahua.
Which is a sentence I don't know has ever been said before.
Oh, hey, look, that's my life. I have an interesting life. But here she is, tongue out always. She is many people, if you've been on the channel for a while, you've definitely met her at some point. But she is here because Jillian is doing two shows today. She's doing an off-Broadway musical right now. So I get to take care of Flurp. She's a 13, almost 14-year-old
don't define
chihuahua.
her.
She has no teeth. She's completely blind, and her back legs don't work very well. And she still runs the house like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, it's a it's a great outfit for her, but also because excuse me, she starts shivering at about 75 degrees. So it's actually not one but two coats that she wears the minute it like drops below 70.
It's funny to me that I look at my dog and then I look at your dog and I think, how funny is it that they're the same species of thing?
It really, you know what, that is a really interesting point. Look, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Yeah. The useless dogs. Your dog would actually be useful. When Flirp's or Pretzel's survival skill is just sitting down and waiting for search and rescue.
Yeah, like if there was a zombie apocalypse, sorry, Pretzel, but you are bait. That is all you can accomplish. Quiet,
But weirdly,
Quiet.
she would be the alpha. She would alpha the zombies. Like your dog would be.
Actually, that's a great point. You know how in Walking Dead they slathered themselves in zombie goo in order to move amongst them? I think Pretzel might actually qualify.
Can you hear her?
If you're carrying her, the zombies just leave you alone because they assume you're part of the pack.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, she's wheezing like an emphysematic lounge singer.
She really only communicates in squeaks and moans. That's all she does.
All right, Keith, we're here for a mission.
Oh my, Luke! Oh, geez, the third book. God. Yeah. So
I guess we
it's our first question for the AMA, and the first one. What's up, CRM?
Yes.
What's up, Chris? So the first question for our AMA is the question I like the least, which is where the hell is the third book in my series? Oh, that's so funny.
What's the answer? I mean, we might as well let's dish it out.
You know, it's interesting. It crossed my mind this morning. So for those who don't know, I wrote a couple of novels way back when, sort of like a zombie apocalypse sort of thingies novels, which I really enjoyed doing. But looking back on it now, I realize they were just sort of like an autistic spasm where I just like put out a couple of books and then I walked away from it because I got bored with it. But the weird thing is like I'm halfway through the third book. Like I got all the way through about writing half of it. I've got like, I don't know, about 40,000 words written on the third book. But
surprises the hell out of me because if there's anything that is like a Keith Varney staple, it's he finishes everything. Like if Keith starts something, he finishes it.
Well, you would think, but you don't see my Dropbox.
That's fair.
Look, thank you. Jeez, I appreciate that. You like the first two books.
That explains the copies sold.
Those are the two copies. I thought I passed Pretzel the mic. Now that would be amazing. What if
oh my
this
God.
whole time we've been in the same place all of these years? But no, that would
that actually would be pretty funny.
That would be fun. So, Luke, someday, I promise, I know what happens. I have it all. Like it's half written. Like it's not like
George
I don't.
R.R. Varney.
I mean, George R.R. sold more than 10 copies of his book, so it becomes a lot more George R.R. worth it to put in the effort it takes to write a novel. But I say this with all the humility I can muster. The 10 people who have read the book are actually invested and want to get it, and I really, really appreciate that, and are and genuinely does make it worth it. I'm actually proud of them. Like I really like them. I have to read them again because I don't remember what happened at all.
You don't? Do you know that's the perfect thing for AI? You pop the manuscript into AI and just say, summarize this.
Or just write the third book.
Also that.
Oh, we live in
Look, this is AI. I said, give me a Star Trek Christmas ornament. And I was like, that's the first take. That's the first swing.
Look at that.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's very impressive. JD asks, have you heard about how J.R. Martin was involved in one of the most famous episodes of Trek? I vaguely remember there was some sort of connection, but remind us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So, all right, so let's get going with the AMA part. So, drop questions in there. We have a couple of them queued up, and we're just gonna chat about literally whatever you want to chat about, and ask whatever the heck you want to ask.
Yeah.
So let's
does not have to be Trek based, by the way. This is
no.
Yeah.
It's not ask us anything Trek related. It's ask us anything. Flirp, you're getting heavy. I can't believe.
That's another sentence I've never heard before.
I know. It's crazy. So, Hibernation Pod asks, just throwing this out there, I am probably the only one who'd care to see this. It ventures outside of the realm of space sci-fi. One of my 90s staple show was Highlander. I don't know if you two have ever seen it or were interested. I tried to listen to another podcast about it, but it sounded like a 2 a.m. radio meant to put you to sleep, just like white noise. There are 6 seasons, and with 119
Highlander.
episodes. Wouldn't expect you to commit to such thing for per episode podcast. Maybe 2 per season or 12 overall once a month to make a year. I don't know. Just a thought. Roll your eyes and laugh if you. I will never roll my eyes or laugh. Peter Banky, what's up? I will never in a million years laugh at Highlander, because first off, I love the movies. Highlander is one of my favorites, go-tos as a kid. We used to watch it at sleepovers all the time.
It's funny, we used to watch Highlander at sleepovers too. I have
That
one
could only
specific
be
friend who
one.
was super into it. Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
The premise of that show, very cool.
Incredibly well. The first movie was fantastic. Second movie went wildly off the rails, and there are 2 versions of it that are completely different, which completely changed the rules of it. Then they went back to Highlander 3 and sort of like, never mind, and went back but it was Sean Connery. Was
The
in
TV
that
show
one.
and the movies, I don't believe existed. Like they weren't in the same universe, right? Or like they weren't.
No, they were, because
were?
I think it was Highlander 4 where they did the crossover, where the lead. It was not Connor McLeod. It was some other, whatever the other McLeod was on the TV show. I watched a couple of episodes, but I should watch them. It might be fun to sort of get into that. Anyway, yeah, I love Highlander.
Yeah, it's
for
not
sure.
off the table. There's so many shows. Highlander, I don't know how much it's been done. We used to not do Quantum Leap because it's so many Quantum Leap podcasts, but man, I just feel like that's one that would be so much fun to go through with Keith. Also, I think there's something really beautiful about just the 2 whitest, straightest guys doing a Golden Girls rewatch, because it's my favorite property of all time.
Golden Girls is a friggin' banger.
Yeah,
an absolute classic, and and at least my understanding, it holds up.
It holds up as far as comedic timing. In fact, it's a masterclass in comedic timing, and just and some just beautiful extraing. So maybe we do a couple of those just for funsies. I don't know. We have a ton.
Yeah, we have a lot of things we might do for
backlog.
funsies that we've got backlogged. So JD explains the J.R. Martin thing. The episode Measure of a Man, fantastic season 2 episodes of Next Gen. The writer was a friend of Martin's, and Martin liked the script so much he called up his friends at Paramount and helped get the script picked up and made into season 2 of Next Gen, which I believe helped Next Gen get picked up. Might have saved. Yes, Jamie. Excuse me. It was so progressive for its time, and the B. Arthur, Betty White.
The one where Rose has like a scare, a health scare. There's also some about like really deep conversations about homosexuality, about
in the early 80s,
the elder care system, divorce. I mean,
that's what I mean about it holding up.
Yeah.
Like it was written by people who like get it.
And the fact, this is one of those shows too, where a portion of the cast did not get along off screen. In fact, B. Arthur and Betty White, I mean, like B. Arthur despised Betty White for reasons, right? There's a lot of opinions, but they just did not get along. But on set, you'd never know it because they just were professionals.
I mean, look at us.
Did I ever tell you the story? I spent a week and a half with Estelle Getty's son. Like, we became I was doing a schmerzy schmoys on a cruise ship.
Oh, sure, of course.
And he came up after the show to say how much he enjoyed it, and I was like, thanks. And then he's like, I know something about show business, and I was like, okay. And then he saw me at the buffet, and he got to talking. He's like, yeah, my mom was Estelle Getty, but he went with his dad in the divorce, and he was talking about how like terrible of a mother she was in the beginning, but then like how they later in life had come together. It was really fascinating. But he sort of attached himself to me. I was like his therapy dog for the week.
You're like on the cruise?
Yeah, fascinating story to tell one day.
I mean, relatives of famous people are really interesting folks.
Yes. And by interesting, you mean messed up?
Well, not necessarily. I took a French class with Renee Fleming's mom, and she was like this sweet little old lady. Mm-hmm. But anyway. All right. So we're going to grab a question from the great and powerful, mysterious Anne, and the great and powerful Walter, the
Yes.
mysterious Walter, and who I know is here. Welcome. We're so excited to have you. And we have big news.
Yeah.
Folks, everybody get ready to applaud.
Okay.
Because the big news in the mysterious household, Walter has just been cast as Shrek in his middle school production of Shrek Jr. Fan-friggin-tastic. Congratulations. And so he asks, what's it like to be a lead in a musical? What would be good for me to know? This will be his first time on stage since playing a card in a kids' community theater production of Alice in Wonderland. We've all done that in second grade. So it's a big deal and very exciting on many levels. His little sister, Sally, will be in the chorus. If you have any reflections on navigating being in school shows with siblings, I think we'd be very curious about that too. All right, so let's break those into two parts. Let's talk about the second part first. Have you ever been in a show with your sibling?
No, I have not. Although I'll say that, well, my siblings aren't particularly musical in any sort of way. But my sister was in one time in high school in the chorus of a musical after I had kind of made my splash debut the year prior. And really, and I think this, to answer both questions together a little bit, Walter, one of the things people don't tell you about being the lead in a musical that is sort of like yes, it's a lot of work, right? And you'll find that out. And but one of the things, the unsung rules, is when you are the lead in a musical, you are sort of also responsible for being kind of an emotional leader for the whole cast.
The first thing I was going to say, yeah.
And that starts with, and I'm sure your mom has already instilled this in you, a lot of compassion, right? So you just remember you're not above anyone else in the team, and the more you can kind of reach out and help and support and guide the other cast members, I think that goes a long way to show leadership skills, compassion, and it's a great place to start with your sister, right? Who's going to be in the chorus. So there's nothing. There's probably a big gulf between the lead and then some chorus members, but this is a great way to show that we're all on the same team by just supporting your sister, compassion, and that goes through everybody else in the cast, I think.
Yeah. That's fantastic. It's going to be so much fun. I remember exactly doing that. What grade? What grade are you now? It's been yeah, because I remember doing that, and yes, there, it's a lot. I mean, 7th grade, fantastic. Yeah, I did my first lead in a musical at that. I was Wilbur in Charlotte's Web in 6th grade. And so a couple of things. It's going to be super, super fun. And whatever pressure you feel, whatever, because there's, everyone's looking in, you're the leader there. Remember, it's supposed to be fun. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. The show doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to go perfect every night. And that is true on every level. That is true on Broadway. That is true. So have fun with it. And the more fun you are having, the more fun the audience is having. It doesn't have to be perfect. But, take the stage, enjoy the lights, enjoy the whole process of it. And what Mike said is right? You're the lead in the show, which means you're a leader. You're going to be setting the tone for the whole environment, and you have an opportunity. You don't necessarily have to march around and be like tell people what to do and be a loud leader, but people are naturally going to follow the tone that you set. So, if you set the tone of show up on time, be prepared, be professional, be kind to everybody, and people will follow you. People will do what you do. So you get to set the tone of the room and make it a positive environment and a kind and supportive environment, which is the only reason to do it. It's supposed to be fun. And what's great about theater, and what it was for me, it was the place where everybody was welcome. Everybody is welcome there. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're the cool kid or the not cool kid or the weird kid or the jock or the whatever. Everybody's welcome in theater. And I think it is inherent to that. And and you are in a position to set that tone, which is really, really, really great. And I think
to fast forward it, like if you ever were to do this on a professional scale, how that translates, right? It never stops, right? That it's really important in school, but as you go into the higher levels, I always, if I'm ever in a principal, the two things I try to do is, one, if I think or I know that I'm making more money than everyone else or some other people, I try to make sure that like if we go out after a show or whatnot, the first round is on me. Not every time.
I don't remember you paying for rounds when we were on tour together. And
because I forget who I was making more money. I was playing a 15-year-old bellhop in the ensemble, so I wasn't buying anybody a drink. And two, just like we said before, leadership sometimes comes from support. Even though, let me tell you, as a pro, the shows go up very quickly. It's very hard, and if you're a lead, there's a lot to learn very quickly. But I try to show support or leadership by being available. So anyone in the cast at any point, they want to run lines, even if you're totally busy, even if they, be available. And availability, it turns out there's a ton of respect in that. So
and in the opposite direction, ask for help.
Yes.
When you need it.
Yeah. Totally.
And like like I said, you don't have to be perfect. You also like don't have to nail everything, and you don't have to be beyond help. If you need help, ask for help. Absolutely. And I think, and the other thing, in terms of being kind and having a relationship with everybody, I had a director that I work with on the first day of tech, meaning when we went into the theater for the first time, gave what I thought was the best advice I've ever heard in theater. And he's like, okay, we're going into tech. There's now a whole bunch of other people here. We have lighting people and set people and costume people, front of house people, you have whatever. And he's like, look, at some point in this process of tech, we are going to need a favor from somebody here, a big, giant, save our butts favor. We don't know who it's going to be, when, or where. So treat everybody here like we're going to need them at some point, and get to know everybody. Say hi to everybody. Get to know their names. Be kind, be helpful, be supportive of literally everybody, from the person cleaning the bathrooms to the house manager, to the person taking tickets, to the lighting person, to the whatever, because you are forming a show is a community. And it is a family and a community that only works with everybody within the confines of that building, if not that block, working together. And having everybody be confident and happy and secure and know what they need to do is the only way that works. Because you go to a Broadway show, there's 20 people on stage. Well, there's 40 other people backstage and around there. So, part of that, it's going to be more fun. Make
friends with the stage crew, always.
Make friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And you never know how that's going to help you and how you're going to help them. And then, I had that experience actually with that show where, because it was a show that I was leading, and I'd also written it, and I had so much responsibility in the back of my shoulders, but because I had been kind and befriended all of the people, I didn't find out until months after the show closed the chaos that was happening that they just handled, because they were rooting for the show and rooting for the situation. And I didn't know that during opening night, the producer of the show and some of the other people found out that they had to move the set to a secondary location after every performance. They had no idea. So while the show was going opening night, she was frantically running down 10th Avenue, trying to rent a U-Haul to drive it through Manhattan to get there and load the set into a U-Haul and then store it someplace. And so chaos was, I didn't even know until months later. And that's why you're a family, you're a team, you're all working together. And that really is, that's part of it. But look, you're doing Shrek. What a great show.
Man,
what
so
a
much fun.
Great part.
Mysterious Anne, please get us a playbill. Have Mysterious Walter and Mysterious Sister sign them.
Sign it.
And
yes.
send it over, please.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
I'll give you our address, or at the very least, give a scan and email it over. We'd love to have.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so I love that show. I saw it twice on Broadway.
Very fun. Actually, there's a ton of roles in that. That'd be fun to do.
It's a great
I'll
role.
say lastly, then we'll move on. My wife, Chancellor Jen, who's incredibly talented, an incredibly talented performer, but sort of her sort of what's the word? The lore of her, the story of her in sort of the business right now is just what Keith said. She saved the day a few times.
Yeah.
She took a 6-week job to do this all Yiddish version of Fiddler on the Roof, the language Yiddish, and she was playing a kind of an ensemble featured part, but was asked to understudy one of the lead tracks, which is like a gargantuan ask because you're probably never going to go on. It's only 6 weeks, and that's
you don't speak the language.
You have to learn an entire. It's actually an incredible lift that I to this day would have never said yes to. Right, yeah. I would just not have agreed to do it, but she did, thinking I'll never have to learn it. But of course, my wife, she's different. She learned it, and didn't. 2 weeks into that run, the lady who was performing the role got a great offer to do something else and had to leave. And Jen, they were going to shut the show down, right? But she said, "No, I'll go on," and then did it for 3 years. The show was a hit.
Yeah.
Then she went to do Classic Stage, another show, same thing, same exact thing on opening night. Or it was their first preview, something like that. The actress playing the role she was understudying got sick. She had not stepped foot on the stage. She had never run the track. They didn't have time because that's how they're saving money these days. Different story. And she said they were going to shut the show down, and she said, "No, I'll do it." So saving the day, great way to make a name for yourself.
Yeah. So you already sort of answered it, but JD asks, what is there a dream role that you want to do that you haven't done yet? And you already said Baker Into the Woods. I mean, what a fantastic role. You'd be so good in that.
Yeah, that's like the thing about dream roles as you get older. There's a ton of stuff I thought I wanted to do, and then you realize, like, I probably shouldn't do that. in fact, I've done some of them that I shouldn't have done for reasons.
Fair.
But yeah, that's one that I know I could do, I could nail, and I still have some time to do it, so I'm going to keep it on the list.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, I've done Miz, but I want to do Valjean someday. No question. I've done Archie in Secret Garden, but at the community theater, I would love to do that professionally. I want to do George in Sunday in the Park. Mm-hmm. I'd love to do a Jekyll.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I have a really good time.
Jen did that, I guess. I guess they do it. I was
no, say. They definitely still do Jekyll. Jillian's doing the show with Bob right now.
Oh, cool.
And Bob Cuccioli, the original Jekyll. I think those are all of those. If I ever get the courage to here's I've made this joke many times about Valjean is the problem is after Ramin Karimloo came in and gave Valjean a 6-pack, Valjean used to be the friendly bus driver, and now he has to have a 6-pack.
All of our roles, man. They did that with Seymour. I luckily got it in before you had to be before it was hot Seymour. I got that one in, but now I wanted to do that show again so bad, but I don't know if I'm too old now. But anyway, what else we got?
Yeah. Actually, Les Mis was my first as well.
Secret Garden was the first show I saw.
Oh yeah. Oh, you've worked with Lila. Lila is awesome. She's super. I had dinner with her a couple of years ago at a cabaret. She's so talented. She's awesome. JD, you'd be great as Thénardier.
Oh, yeah. I'll be Madame Thénardier with JD. What do you think?
I would pay money. I would pay very good money
Let's do it.
to see that. All right, more questions, folks.
Yeah. Was there anything else on the board or no?
No, I mean we've.
What about New Year's? You do anything fun for the new year this year, Keith?
Oh God, probably not. No.
I think Jen's working.
I'm not like. Well, it's interesting. Like I had too much social anxiety for New Year's for so much of my life that now that I don't like, I feel sort of ambivalent about it. Like I like sleep.
Yeah.
So
I've actually almost
make it
always spend it alone because Jen's always working because it's a good night to work.
Oh, sure.
Then last year I was on a cruise. I got offered a cruise this year, but I turned it down because I love my wife and she's going away for a few months to do a show.
It's not
and
the
it's like
tone you should
our
use
last
for
few days.
that.
Well, no, it was like really good money to be in the Bahamas on a Virgin ship. But you know what? CEO Jen is warmer than that, Keith.
Of
Of course, she was like, "Why didn't you take the money?"
I mean, she's not wrong.
No, that's true. Have
She's
I seen
not
the new
wrong.
Superman trailer? JD asks. I did. So, my love of all things superheroes and superhero properties was at a peak with the Marvel stuff, and has really flagged lately because not just because the Marvel stuff has gone downhill, but because just like so much. I love Superman. Means a lot. I thought the trailer was cool. My fear is that it's going to be overstuffed and that they're going to try to put too much in there, but that's just a fear because I can't enjoy anything anymore because nothing goes the way I want it to this current day and age. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Vibes were cool though, so you know.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I agree with you. I trust James Gunn, right? Because I think he's the Guardian series is fantastic. I really like Peacemaker. I am concerned about it being overstuffed. Like I think that a lot of superhero movies lately is I think they've just become so stuffed they don't have any focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really prefer the ones that are like, here's our hero, here's our obstacle, and the hero has friends, right? But once you add like 7 different superheroes, I don't even know who any of these people are. I don't have enough time to understand their backstories. I'm sure some people know what's going on there and like great, but give me one story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I don't have to do like work to understand like, oh, this random person who has 30 seconds of screen time. Now we have more superpowers. I don't know what the rules are. It's just not as interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. The thing is that for better or for worse, right? If you look back at the Marvel stuff, what was the first? The Iron Man was sort of the first like entry into that giant universe, and they didn't overdo it, right? You didn't try to introduce all the Avengers in that one movie. They So will he try to do that here? Or are those things not as important? I guess until we know, really, we get a trailer with some story beats and some what's going to be. I think Superman looks great. Imagery is great. The audio like callbacks were great. The crypto stuff was excellent. I agree, Mysterious Ann. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and honestly, and again, James Gunn has proven me wrong with the execution of the Guardians, right? Because everything I'm saying that I'm worried about here, they did with Guardian. I don't know who any of these people are, but because he was able to introduce them in a way that made it work. But for me, what makes superhero stories so effective to me is them living in our world. Because what is the fantasy, right? It's like, what if I could fly? But not in some other weird galaxy with a million other people like that. It's what if I could fly in my real world?
Mm-hmm.
In this. So I love the ones that exist in our world, in our planet, with somebody with superpowers. Not everybody's got superpowers and it's sort of chaos.
That's a kind of good dovetail, Keith, because that is sort of tangentially the premise of Skeleton Crew, which is what if Star Wars, but in 80s suburbia, right? Which either that premise is interesting to you or it's not, right? There's a criticism that's like it's that if you take away all the Star Wars-iness of it, is it Star Wars still? So that and that's a fair criticism, I guess. If the premise sounds interesting, Skeleton Crew is a little bit fun of a romp. For me, just the question of how are we in this world? Like, why does this world exist and we never knew about it? Is the interesting question. Why I'll probably continue to watch. I only watched the first 2.
I haven't seen it yet because obviously Mysterious Ann asked what we thought about it. I haven't seen it yet, but am I right in thinking it's sort of like a Star Wars Goonies?
That's kind of the way they're elevator pitching it, and yes, my hope is that the mystery as to why, because the question becomes like, how does this world that is ostensibly a science fictionalized 80s suburb exist, and we never heard about it in this war, right? And if you take away the wars of Star Wars, is it still war? That's all meta stuff, right? The show itself is fun and it's kind of geared towards kids, so it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. That's my feelings thus far.
Well, I'm intrigued for two reasons. One, love the Goonies. It was a seminal movie for me. I've rewatched it recently as an adult. I think it's a perfect movie.
I agree, except I will say, well, I say this about everything. If you find yourself a Blu-ray transfer of the recent 4K like remaster, watch it as it's intended to be watched, like that. Like the TV, you usually see it on like TBS and stuff, and it does it no favors.
No.
I rewatched it
on the best
seen correctly, and I was like, oh my god, this is the perfect movie. I think you're absolutely right.
It's so good, and it's the same reason. The reason I like that is the same reason I was so drawn to it as a kid, because it was about a group of kids who weren't the cool kids, that life was not easy for them, and that they had to overcome these challenges, which were both kid scale and adult scale at the same time, and they had to band together as a team of misfits to sort of navigate some real stuff. And whether it's Goonies, that is exactly how I felt as a kid. So I identified with them so much, where it was like, because you had kid trouble with like bullies or whatever. You also had the kids' awareness of adult stuff, and you had some serious obstacles that the kids knew that the adults didn't. And all three of those elements were so much a part of my childhood and understanding that. So, which is why I was so drawn in by that. And so I think Spielberg does that really well, because he understands, like, Spielberg and Stephen King both write kids the way kids actually exist, and they actually talk to each other and they actually think, as opposed to sort of TV kids. And I think that's why I was really drawn to it. So I'm hoping that Skeleton Crew will be similar to that when I get into it. Questions about the finale of Lower Decks? I can't answer that because I haven't seen. I'm not all the way through to the finale of it yet, and Mike's not allowed to see any of it. But I'm very excited, and I had a piece of it spoiled to me that I know something is now canon, which I'm very excited about, which I haven't seen. But we'll get there when Mike is allowed to. You don't want to get in trouble with Dad. I guess that's me.
Yeah, your dad for sure. That's what else we got. Any holiday questions, personal questions, whatever you got. I mean, like, by personal, I don't mean personal, but whatever. I guess anything.
You're the one who wanted to stream this on public YouTube.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So if you're wondering, procedurally, we have to record a bunch of toys. Mm-hmm. I've got a whole mess of them right there, unopened. So I have a whole mess of boxes that I don't even know what's inside them. So I'm going to be very excited, sent by you guys, which is really the best part. I've got stuff from Peter, I've got stuff from Kevin, and it's all sitting there. I'm staring at it. I've been staring at it for weeks because we suck at keeping on.
Do you know what I just pulled off the shelf, Keith? Because I was setting some things up. Who made us? I can't remember who made it for us. Who sent us the Gooing Odo?
Oh, that was JD.
Yeah, it's so cool, JD. It's awesome. With I have the hammer hand on right currently.
Walter has wandered away. Limit of attention for a 13-year-old reached. Fabulous.
Yeah,
fabulous.
I mean, to be frank,
I'm shocked we lasted that long.
45 minutes. That's pretty good. That's what 4 episodes of Bluey.
That's longer than mine. That's longer than my attention span, for sure. Man, yeah. Okay, all right. So here we are. We're at the end of the year.
Yep.
At the end of 24. Mike, what have you learned?
Oof.
About yourself in the world in 2024?
Oh man, that's myself in the world. Well,
Yeah.
I learned that. I relearned that it's not always a straight line, Keith. You can set yourself up for anything or make expectations and do all the work, and sometimes it still doesn't go your way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can, and I've learned enough to give myself a little space and grace, and then you pick up and continue the fight the next time. And I mean mostly that politically, but also life, right? Yeah, this was a year that it took some, for us at least, it took some fast detours and huge decisions made very late. Right?
That's right, because you bought a house.
We bought a house and we got a
this
dog,
year.
which are two giant things for us. That sort of shifted this whole trajectory of everything, really, to be honest with you. So 2025, I'm looking at doing this. I always say my big three are always set big goals and then drill in, right? I want to be a better person, better man, better husband, better friend. How can I do those things? I definitely want to perform more this year. I want to try to get back into it. And I want to, the other thing, you
you directed and starred in a show this year.
Yeah, but I want to do one that, like, I want to do something. I want to feel a little bit more like, I just want to do something else this year. I want to, something different. Maybe a play. I don't know, something, anything, please. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I gotta like pay a little more attention to my health this year. I think I wanna. There's a couple of doctors I gotta see. There's some exercise, like I want to lose a little weight and get my blood work better. I was thinking, my dad died when he was 54. I'm gonna turn 45 this year, and like, looking down the barrel of that, a lot of the things that took him out was, centered around the fact he just didn't take care of himself when he could. He let stress and eating terrible basically kill him. And, I want to learn that lesson better, right? I want to learn that lesson better. So yeah, those are a couple things I'm focusing on. But you, buddy?
Well, this year was actually a really interesting year of learning. I won't get into the political world, but there's a lot to learn there, and have definitely recalibrated a lot of thinking there. But for me, this year was actually monumentally important for me, because this was the year that I finally realized how neurodivergent I am. And whether or not it's autism or some flavor of it, I don't know. I probably will never know. But I spent 44 years not knowing that about myself, and not understanding how that was affecting my life and the way that I see the world and the relationships that I have, and how it affects my successes and my failures, and just how I navigate stuff. And finally understanding that, and seeing how that was affecting me, has been this wonderful awakening. It's weird, because people are like, oh, that's not good news. Well, frankly, for me, it was fantastic news, because I finally understood so much. And so it recontextualized so much of my life and so much of my relationships. But it also, it's freed me up in a lot of different ways. I've had all these pieces of myself that were sort of pieces of neurodivergence or pieces of autism that I was always uncomfortable with, or people pushed back on, or I didn't quite understand, and it made me self-conscious, it made me feel ashamed, whatever. And now I'm like, no, it's just who I am, and I'm okay with it. And I'm having so much more, I feel so much better about myself and my choices and the things that I do. I feel like I need to explain less. I feel like I need to justify less. And I can really lean into the things that I'm good at, and things that I care about, and maybe not hold on to so much of the things that I really don't, and just sort of felt like I had to, because that's the world that we live in, and people expect blah, blah, blah. And now that and more in terms of relationships, I can now explain myself better, and be able to, like, go into new relationships, whether they're business or personal, but like, all right, hey, this is my deal. These are the things I'm good at. These are the things that I'm not. And, we can now navigate this from a place of knowledge and acceptance. So, like, that was the best thing that's ever happened to me. The best thing that's happened to me in many years. And I wish that I had known and had the guidance on that years and years ago. But now I'm delighted. I'm delighted to know that.
I think the understanding about yourself is really the most important there. I would, because I'm sure this was just I don't think you meant it in any sort of way, but, like, I don't think you need to explain yourself to anybody, buddy.
No, I don't mean in that way, but like collaboration,
Yeah.
right? You and I
Okay.
collaborate really well together because we both are similar and we get it. But like
That's a
I
fluke.
but yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fluke because
Yeah.
I've struggled with collaboration in a lot of different ways, mainly because I have ways in which I'm comfortable working and ways in which I'm very uncomfortable working that aren't normal, I guess, at least not neurotypical. And now I can be like, hey, I need like this is the way my brain works. Before
Mhm.
we do anything, here's the way I work successfully. I
Mhm.
need autonomy and I need very clear expectations
Yeah.
and boundaries.
Yeah.
And if we respect both of those things, we can work great together. If we don't, if it gets muddy, if it gets whatever, and I don't feel like I have autonomy, we're gonna struggle. And but now I can say why. And it's not because I'm a jerk, right?
Mhm.
And it's not because I'm a control freak, and it's not because I'm an egotist, which I very much am all of those things. But that's not the only thing driving that. So that's what I mean about explaining. So all right, so JD asks, have you ever had a dream that seemed so realistic that when you woke up, you had to take a minute to readjust to the real world? I'll let you go first because I have a very specific answer on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Few, and the most recent one, I'll do well, they're both sort of like deal with like ghosty things, right? So in one, I came downstairs and I was like so I found my grandma pass away when I was like 5 or 6, and
Really?
so, yeah, and that was like a, a, a traumatic thing. I didn't
How have
know at
we
the moment
never talked about
because I
that?
didn't know like what dying was. So
Yeah.
I just thought she was sleeping, and then my mom's reaction was so traumatic and dramatic that it really kind of blew my brain a
Yeah,
bit.
sure. Yeah.
And then once or twice, I'll have these dreams where I'll be the same age and I come down the stairs. So it's not reliving the moment, right? But I'll come down the stairs and like I'll see her sitting in her space and I'll know she's not supposed to be there, or she should sit at the table, and then I'll follow her around the corner and she'll be gone. So it's like a ghost
Mm.
encounter, but it's weird. So, but I've had that dream a few times, and every time I wake up and my brain is like, can't remember how old it's like a big scenario. I can't remember how old I am and where I am. That's kind of a weird one. And the other one was most recent was a daydream, and I was sitting in my was we were still in Astoria, and I remember sitting on the Poang chair and kind of nodding off, but then I was looking at a tree outside the window, and um I remember this like rope, and I pull a rope, and all of a sudden I was sitting at at a table with my father, and we had this conversation as adults, present day. I mean, it was so visceral that if I was more of a believing type person, I'd be like, this was a
Mm.
legit like what do you call it?
Premonition.
Yeah, well, like what's the thing where like metaphysical kind of anyway. But then I kind of came to, and I was like, was that what was So those are the two most recent. Sorry, that was out there. What about you?
Well, I have a lot of them actually, but the epiphany, there it is. Yeah, so actually this ties back to my book, the Dead Circle,
Mm.
which was that book came out of a dream that I had, and a fully formed image, which was like I had this dream of this being in the middle of a big city in this empty vacant lot in the center, and there was thousands of completely naked people walking in a circle over and over again, and they were like not dancing but like twitching, and there was like fire and the lights and their shadows were going up on the sides of the building. It's going around and around and around, and it was so visceral. I woke up like, what is that? What can that be? And then I wrote a book around explaining how to get to that moment and what that all is. So yeah, I mean, I got a novel out of it.
That's
So
cool. It's cool when like material just kind of feeds itself to you rather than having to work
and
so hard.
I've had that happen. Songs will come fully formed. I've had actually a couple of setups for things have begun that way.
I can remember at least three songs, musical pieces, orchestral pieces that have come in dreams that I never wrote down and are gone forever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I try
And
to
I'm
write them
pissed
down
every time.
And I will try to like hum it into my voice memo in the middle of the night. Sometimes it works, sometimes it wasn't.
John Kelly, welcome, John Kelly. Who from DS9 would be most likely to Plan B someone, and who would most likely to get Plan B'd? Well, Quark, right, would obviously Plan B someone.
Oh, that is interesting. So for those for the Star Trek side of our audience, that is a reference to the practice side of our audience, which was the technique of the firm of Bobby Donnell and Associates would frequently accuse someone of the murder who didn't necessarily do the murder or whatever they call it, planning B somebody.
Actually, Odo Plan B's Quark all the time, doesn't he?
He accuses him a lot of stuff. Honestly, I think Cisco would be the one.
He's a tactician.
Like as a tactician, if you needed to, if you were negotiating, let's say they're around the table they're negotiating with the Dominion, or there was a court scene, Cisco would do what is necessary to win the case. And I think that I totally think he would be the one. I think because I think he would do it best. Like if anybody on the show would be a fantastic lawyer on the practice, I think it's Cisco.
What about questions keep coming on, friends. We got another 5-10 minutes. Okay, Chris. First of all, why did I call you Chris? Why just call you? Oh, Christmas.
You just call me Chris? Mike, we have known each other for 21 years. Yes, 100%.
Yes,
Cisco's
100%.
Eugene.
My point, I was going to say Christmas memory, Keith. Like, growing up, any year, like, what was the...
Chris and Mike Entertainment.
What was the time? Digby. Yeah, I fired... We're going to do a season 8 practice. There's just a new Keith, and we're just starting a new pilot.
Season 9, we did season 8. Yeah. My mom's name is Chris, by the way.
Top 2 presents given or received, or memories surrounding the holidays, right?
Oh, God. Well, I think we've answered this one before, where it's my Phil Simms jersey from 1993. Right. But I will say I'll say just like Christmas memories. Actually, you know what? I'll give a specific Christmas memory because I believe I was wearing this sweater when I did it, and that's when I broke my elbow skating.
Oh yes,
which
no, that's not the fight. That's not the fight. This is different.
No, not the fight. No, this is only a couple years ago. In fact, you can see the moment on my Instagram somewhere if you scroll back, because at my parents' house we have a pond. And so we flood it and we skate and we played hockey back in the day a lot. But recently, because Vermont and because the reality is we're hillbillies, my father has a 4-wheeler, which we attached a long rope to and then a snow tube to the end of the rope and doing wheelies in the middle of the pond. So you're just being spun around on the tube on the back of the 4-wheeler. And so I did do some of the tube, but when this happened, I was filming the tube and trying to like show how awesome of a skater I was. So I was like doing exactly, putting the camera low and like shooting this thing and like going in an opposite circle to what the tube was doing. And like, oh, I'm so awesome at skating. And of course, while I was doing it, I tripped on some bad ice and busted my elbow real bad. Which was not the first time a Varney had broken their elbow on that pond trying to show off skating, because my father, who was probably 65, almost 70 at the time, broke his elbow trying to impress my mother with his figure skating on hockey skates.
Well, I mean, breaking your ass on the ice is not a uniquely Varney skill.
No, but like to do it while showing off for no reason over 40.
I think there is a 0% chance if I put a pair of ice skates on right now that I could stay upright for more than 30 seconds.
Well, someday you're going to have to come up to Vermont. You and Jen have to come up and we'll skate.
That would be fun. We got some other questions rolling in here. JD is a question machine. Let's see if there is any that is not. Keith does need a banjo, yes. Actually,
I
I'm
do.
sure there's a banjo in your home. I'm sure Jillian has a banjo.
Well, no, yeah, we absolutely have a banjo. Yeah.
Who do you think will be playing on Oldies Radio in 30 years? Real quick plug, I'll say. This isn't exactly an answer to your question, but it's funny how things are dismissed. So we were talking about, I have a bunch of records here, and my nieces were over, and they pulled out a Phil Collins record. And I had to explain to them the genius of Phil Collins, right? What people don't know about Phil Collins, Keith. They think of him about his 80s pop hits that you probably know, One More Night and all, and you know.
Sure. Tarzan. Yeah.
But he started as a prog rock drummer in one of the most incredible prog rock bands. He is on the Mount Rushmore of drumming. People think of him as a singer. Mount Rushmore of drumming. And then became the lead singer of Genesis, took over for Peter Gabriel of all people, and out Peter Gabriel, and became one of the most like prolific pop artists of all time. Great documentary for Phil Collins on a YouTube channel called Drumeo. Check it out. Listen to some Phil Collins, folks. Who will be 30 years from now? Oldies radio? Will radio still be rocking in 30 years? That's the question. Or is everything digital by then?
Will it all be AI? Well, yeah. In order to answer that question, I'd have to be aware of what's happening now, musically, and I'm old, and I never was super aware, so I'm assuming it's gonna be like Chapel Roan, and
yeah. Well, the Chapel Roan is a big one for me this year. Like the Chapel Roan forced me back into pop music, and Sabrina Carpenter, and some of the pop female singers currently are absolutely. This girl who just was on SNL this past weekend. I can't remember her name. Anyway, some of the pop writers right now, some of these teenagers or early 20-year-old artists are incredible. Performers, decent singers, but really great songwriting taking place lyrically and musically. Yeah, really. So I'm so glad about...
So the important question everyone wants to know, Digby asks, how's your disgusting black finger looking?
Oh, I'm good. All the fingers are good.
Oh, look at that.
I'm back, baby. That did suck, and it fell off, and it was gross. But nails are funky things because they're both dead and alive.
Right.
Nails are basically zombies.
Good taste does live on. Genesis. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Old Genesis, so slept on. Taste is another thing, Keith, that I've come to appreciate. You were talking about knowing yourself better, and one of the things I've been working on with my imposter syndrome, I think I mentioned
excellent question.
I think I've used this before with you. We talked about this before, but I've been coming to realize that a skill that like a fine wine that you take with you, the longer you do something or work with something, is acquired taste, right? And aesthetic. And, that's something that I've been I am appreciated with at work. And I used to think I was kind of just like, because I do some things very quickly and other things not very quickly. And sometimes in order to accomplish something, I have to learn about it very quickly. And back in the day, cramming was always a pejorative, right? But now when you think about it in a professional space or even a creative space, if you're able to learn something very quickly in order to accomplish it to the right specifications, that's actually a skill. And so, I'm trying to appreciate and respect my acquired taste over the years. And yeah, was me stalling for the next question.
No, but I you said something really important there, and good advice for Walter and folks coming up. It has always been true, but I think now we acknowledge it more. In the real world, not in school, but in the real world, the most valuable skill you can have is not knowing a lot. It's being able to learn quickly.
Yeah.
And knowing how to learn, not having had learned a bunch of things. And I think that, and especially this day with technology, because back when we were kids, the world's information of all of time and space was not available to you on your phone. So you had to sort of remember stuff. Now it's about information literacy. It's both how to access information, and how to have information literacy, how to be able to realize what is good information, what is not. Learn fast. I don't care if you know when the Declaration of Independence was signed. I care that you can figure it out, and you can have some context about why it matters. So anyway, very very quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna pose a question to everybody here that we're gonna answer these things up, and then we'll move on with our days. But here's my question for everybody to answer while we're answering these last few questions. So I'm building my apocalypse archive of media, right? Because who knows with what's coming? Will we have access to all the information that we normally have? It doesn't always happen in these situations. Anyway, so I'm building an archive of TV, movies, books, information that I want to have access to no matter what, right? So for everybody out there, what is the one piece of media you need to have in your archive? It can be a movie, it can be a TV show, it can be a book, it can be an album. What is that one piece of media that, like, if we lost access to the internet, you need a hard copy of, you need a backup of? All right. So here's our question: is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Okay, sure. I mean, technically, I've heard this broken down in lots of different ways because it is meat between two pieces of bread.
It's vibes. You got to go by vibes. There's no technical answer to this question. It's vibes. No is the answer for me.
You know what? That is a very non-autistic answer, but I think it's the right answer. How we define food and art and whatever. It's vibes. Let's be honest. It's vibes. I like it. JD also asks, what's the weirdest or worst gift you've ever received? Mike, I'll let you go first. I have to think on this.
I've told this story many times, but I will real quickly draw up it again. I think we're in second grade at this point. We did a white elephant, where you get a Secret Santa type of scenario. And so you had to buy somebody in your class a present. It was like a $20 limit or something like that. And I remember going to the Toys R Us with my mom. We bought my Secret Santa person his name was Dave Forney. And I bought him this radical Micro Machines mini set, right? Awesome. Super cool. I wanted it for myself, so I bought it for him. Great. And then, so we were all exchanging gifts, and the whole thing was we had 20 minutes left in class, and we could play with them for the remainder of the day. Oh my God, this is great for a second grader. The person who received me, his name was Joe Tribble. He must have forgot the day of that we were doing this, and he gave me a used troll eraser doll. So it was like a little troll doll that you could put on the end of your pencil, whose half his head was like erased off. So that was embarrassing in the first place for like me. My social anxiety went through the roof because I was embarrassed because back then I didn't have the compassion that maybe his family didn't have whatever reason. It wasn't necessarily that he forgot. It could have been that they couldn't afford. I have more compassion as an adult. As a child, I was disappointed. I was embarrassed. And then for 20 minutes, I just sit there while all the other kids were like, yeah, playing. And I was like holding this. Terrible. And the weirdest, I don't have an answer, but I'm going to. CEO Jen had a previous partner, and together they had a dog. And after they split, Jen kept the dog. And months later, over the holidays, she received a Christmas present in the mail, and it was a giant picture of ex-partner and the dog. It was like Merry Christmas. And I was like, so that's probably the creepiest, weirdest present I've ever heard of.
That's amazing. I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm gonna confirm that offline.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right. So CRM asks, can you guys tease any upcoming content for next year? Will 2025 be the year you start Voyager? Oh boy. Well, let me tell you, Chris, we tease a lot of content we never actually get to. That's the whole thing. We can tease whatever.
I can guarantee you one thing. Geekly is coming back. I don't know if I've told Keith, but it is actually coming back. I don't know
who's being teased by that. I think it's probably me.
No, it is actually coming back. I have it all set up and ready to go. I have 2 additional hosts. So at its top, we have 4 people in, and any whatever combination of the few, so that we can keep it going. So look forward to that. That's just our chance to kind of do this, but with pop culture stuff. And it has a separate channel, but we'll deal with all that later. Oh, so yes, that for sure.
A Phoenix Cage. Phoenix, have you been lurking here this whole time and you're just saying hi now? Says, regarding the ability to learn, Carl Sagan said, science is not just a body of knowledge, it is a way of thinking.
That's good for the library, the original Cosmos, actually.
You're
Carl
damn
Sagan.
right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but that's the thing, and that's where like while we were dealing with like science isn't real, whatever. Like, science is a method. Science is a way of processing the world. It is not a destination. It is not a resolution of anything. So yeah, so around 2025 stuff. Yes. JD says if you start Voyager after you finish DS9, you should be starting Voyager at the start of 26 based on weeks of 2026 based on weeks. I assume you'd be taking. Yeah, well, JD, you tried this before once. You built us a whole schedule for our movie watch-alongs, and then I don't think we've done one since. We would have been done the movies by now. But yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment, because I think with Voyager we'd want to do it as the full thing, and it would be unmanageable to do both of them second week of February. Awesome. I think it'd be unmanageable to do both of them at the same time, so probably that. But certainly we are going to continue the movies. I
think there's something, we've flirted with a lot of ideas, but I think there's something to the dynamic of these has been cool, where you've seen it, I haven't seen it. There'd be something cool to something where I have seen it and you haven't seen it. But it also, I think, would be interesting to visit what the chemistry would be of you and I both looking at finding something that is in both of our Hall of Shames, right? Piece of media that is beloved, or maybe should be beloved, that we both haven't seen, might be interesting.
Let me tell you what I'm excited about doing a show that that I don't.
All the prep.
Yeah. You have to write the recaps.
There's something. Guess what? I'm just going to have AI do it. That's the funny part.
Oh, no, you can't AI. No. I'm not AIing. You can't AI. All right. Well, let's finish with everybody's, I guess it's sort of a desert island, but sort of like, let's say authoritarian apocalypse information here. So let me see. You're Radiohead. Okay, computer. Sure. I think for me, I'm Aliens Extended Edition. Obviously, excluding all Star Trek, because that's sort of obvious, right? It'd be James Cameron's Aliens Extended Edition on 4K. I think that would be that's my touchstone. Entire catalog of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Oh, yeah, I mean, especially Sesame in the apocalypse, Street. We could all use some Mr. Rogers. Love that. The full run of Fraggle Rock, original version from the 80s from Mysterious Ant.
Venture Brothers. Never watched Venture Brothers.
Venture Brothers, yeah.
Fraggle Rock, great.
David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Oh, wow, I picked a book because I'm smart. That's awesome. I don't think I've read David.
Yeah, a lot of those Dickens things are free or open source, or not open source. What's the word I'm thinking? When it goes out of fair use.
Fair use, yeah, out of copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Phoenix just got here.
Batman the Animated Series. Funny, Jamie. I just put that on my server.
Oh, interesting. I've never watched.
Oh boy,
I struggle with animated.
Oh man, such a universe you're missing, brother. If you're going to start with anime, like Batman the Animated Series is a place to start, because that is incredible storytelling.
I know it's great.
Public domain. Thank you, JD.
We had another question. I just missed it. Hold on. Glad we can avoid libraries.
Of all the captains, Mystic Maven, of all the captains, who do you want to serve under?
Oh, there we go. Good question.
Oh man, Pike. Yeah, he is dreamy. Which Pike? Come on, it's Ben Sisko, 100%.
Yeah.
To just have a chat with Picard though, would be cool.
Okay. Serve under, right? I think that in terms of just like the lifestyle I would like to have, I think I'd prefer to be with Picard, because I would be able to, like, I've got my quarters and I do my thing, and and Cisco, I think that just being in the middle of a war, no thanks. I think I would enjoy the clean lines and predictable life of the Enterprise D over Deep Space Nine.
Depending on your tastes, Keith, and how you want to take this question, I'm just going to put this out there and we can leave it. Let's not forget good old Captain Kirk. I mean, if you want to serve under somebody, he might be the choice because there was a lot of serving under Kirk. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't say which one we want to make out with most.
I said serving under. That can mean whatever you want it to mean.
Well, way to make it weird by the end, Mike. That's what you can trust and know from KandM. All right, well, folks, I think we should say happy holidays for anybody who celebrates any holidays, and if you don't celebrate any of the holidays, happy time, happy season. And look, as I say every time we have a holiday thing, because people get, Mike gets very excited about the holidays, but I'd like to definitely specifically point out the holidays are not always a fun and festive time for everybody. And at the very least, it's probably complicated for most everybody. So we wish everybody a happy season and happy holidays. But with some understanding that going back to families, it's complicated. Not going back to families, complicated. Seasons, whatever it is. So we wish everybody well.
I say lead with gratitude. It's difficult, very difficult at times, but for me at least, I'm so thankful that I have this channel and these folks to help me get to gratitude very quickly, because Keith and I, though we often bluster through a lot of self-deprecation and humor and such, we are infinitely humbled every time we start a stream and there's people on it. Regardless of that number, the fact that some of you are able to and choose to spend your very difficult, hard come to income to help us offset the incredible amount of time we put into all this stuff is just really beyond what we ever planned. But we thank you. We appreciate you being. And for those of you just joining and going through our back catalog, hopefully you've seen the small incremental steps of improvement. But we'll always be ourselves. We promise you that. And just thank you is what I'd like to close with.
Gratitude is exactly the right way to close this. And thank you, Anne, for, as usual, saying what I was trying to say much better and more succinctly.
Let's maybe let Mysterious Anne have the final word. What do you say?
Yes. But I just want to say quickly.
Yes, please. Sorry,
I share the gratitude as my primary feeling for the season, for you, Mike, for all of you watching, and for this little world that we've built, and that everybody is welcome, and I'm grateful to everybody. This is, as I said, like this, what have I learned from 2025? What have I taken joy from? Well, this world, this channel, all of the people here is, we play everything off, and everything's goofy, everything's fun, and it's joke, but like this means a great deal to me. And everybody here means a great deal to me. And I'm incredibly grateful to everybody, new and old. And so this has brought a lot of joy and meaning to my days and my weeks. And so I mean that. So it's Digby says, criminal production value to average viewer ratio you guys have. Fair enough. All right. So yes, thank you, everybody. So, as you said, we will leave with what Mysterious Anne had to say. Smarter than I did. May the holidays be what y'all need them to be. And may there be space for whatever you're feeling and experiencing. We hope it's joy. And if not, we're there with you anyway. So, thank you so much for coming along to the KandM Holiday Party. We appreciate everybody. We will see you next week, or a week from next, with another episode of Deep Space Nine. But hopefully, we'll have a toys in there for you this week. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful rest of the season. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back next time. Bye, everybody. Where's the button?
There's the button.
There it is.